All right, got the money light check engine code popped on this '08 Ford Explorer here, or it's Escape actually, not Explorer, a couple days ago, and looks like we're popping evap P0455 gross leak detected. So I checked the vent solenoid already. That thing's working fine. So then I went over here, was kind of messing with the purge valve, which is located right back here on the firewall. It's that thing right there. And I was using the scan tool to turn it on and off, and I couldn't hear it click or anything, and I had my finger on it, touching it while I was turning it on and off with the scan tool, and I wasn't even feeling anything, so I think it's stuck. So let me get some stuff set up here, then I'll show you what I'm up to. Okay, I got the purge valve loose, which it's right here, and it just slides on. See, there's this bracket here. Well, it slides onto a bracket on the firewall, so you just got to push in on the tab that's right here, push on that, and then just wiggle it off till it's off that bracket. So now we got this loose. First thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure that it's getting the command from the computer to turn on and off. So we'll be back probing this connector here. It should have power all the time, and then when the computer wants the solenoid to turn on, it will supply the ground. Then that will turn the solenoid on, so we'll check that here in a minute. Okay, back probe. Looks like it's a blue wire, no white tracer. That in there, and see, we got 7 or 11.78 volts on that wire. Now the next one, same thing, and that's because it's not on, so it doesn't have a ground, so it's going to show the battery voltage on both wires right now. Now this should be the ground wire, and what you're going to see is this purge valve is controlled by a duty cycle, so what the computer does is it turns the ground on and off real fast. So it's not constantly at ground. So what you're going to see is when I turn this on, this isn't going to go to 0 volts. It's only going to go down to about 10, because the way this samples is it's so slow, it's basically just picking up an average. So I'll turn it on now, and you'll see it drop to about 10 volts. That's 100% on the duty cycle, and see, like I said, it only drops down to about 10 volts. Now, to show that it is working, I've got a test light here, and you can see that test light is on. I've got the test light, the other end, hooked to battery positive, so that's showing that it's got a ground. And then as I turn this duty cycle down, you'll see that bulb get dimmer and dimmer and dimmer until it finally goes out. So now it doesn't have a ground. And I'll turn it back on, turn the duty cycle back up again, and you see the bulb comes back on. So the computer's doing its job. So it's got power, and the computer is supplying the ground. So there's something wrong with that purge valve. So I think the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that purge valve off, and then maybe see if I can blow some air and some cleaner or something through it, see if I can get it unstuck. Unfortunately with this, you need a scan tool. It's got bi-directional control to be able to test like we're doing with the test light, to see if the computer was supplying the ground to it, because you need to turn that on with the scan tool to be able to see that. I mean, I guess as far as testing this purge valve, what you could do just to see if this valve is working or not is on these connectors here. Just need to connect one of these connectors to power, then the other one to ground, and that should make this open. And then just, you know, just try blowing through that hose and see if it opens up or not. You could test this valve that way. Yeah, one more thing I wanted to show you on testing this purge valve also. Here is the vacuum line coming from the motor to the purge valve. What I'm going to do is unhook this from the motor, and then I got a hand vacuum pump. I'm going to plug that into there. Okay, now on the tool here, I've got the fuel tank pressure sensor up. And right now the valve should be, let's see, it's turned off. And now I'm going to apply some vacuum to that. And it's holding. As you can see, it's holding. It's dropping a little bit. But now let's turn this on. And you see it's not changing. And that should be, with it on, it should be pulling that vacuum in there. We should be seeing that the pressure sensor changing, but it's not. So that's just another thing showing me that this thing is stuck. Alright, I'm going to get that off now. Okay, to sum this up, why I think we're getting that gross leak code is, I think what's going on is when the computer wants to test the evap system, what it does is it opens up this, closes the vent valve first, and then it opens up this purge valve. And then what that does is the purge valve lets vacuum get into the system, and then the computer is looking at the fuel tank pressure sensor, and it wants to see that start going into a vacuum. And then it will shut the purge valve off so the system is sealed, and then it sits there and watches that fuel tank pressure sensor, and it watches it over a certain amount of time to see if it starts degrading, if it starts losing vacuum. And if it loses too much vacuum, then it starts throwing the codes. But I think what's going on here is because this purge valve is stuck closed, when it shuts the vent and then it commands the purge valve to open and it starts watching that fuel tank pressure sensor, it's not seeing it go into a vacuum because this purge valve is stuck shut, so it's not letting any vacuum get in the system. So then it doesn't see it start going into a vacuum, so then it thinks there's a big leak somewhere, and so then it throws that code. I think that's the best way I can explain it. So I tried cleaning this up. It's stuck shut. I can't get it to unstick. I mean, I'm blowing, through that hose there, and I can't blow any air through it. I hooked it back up to the scanner, turned it on, and it still, you can't blow any air through it. So it's just stuck good. So I can't do anything more with this until I get a new purge valve for it. Yep. All right. Thanks for watching.